There's this one time, man, I was helping people clean up after a real bad storm, that storm 2015 in Sumter. You know, when we're helping gut houses, it's my responsibility to go from house to house to house and make sure they got everything they need, all the supplies they need, things of that nature. So I pull up on this one house, man, and I'm asking folks like, hey, you know, do you need anything, yada, 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 and they point me to somebody in charge. So I go in the house, and I roll up on this guy who's about elbow deep in some drywall. I'm like, hey, do you need anything? What's going on, man? You need anything? He's like, no, sir. You know, he dresses me all fancy and stuff. I'm like, I don't know what y'all mean. You're a little bit older than I am, but. So, you know, I don't know if you know me real well, you know, sometimes I can get focused. I get tunnel vision when I'm working too hard. I don't have time for jokes, games, or even food. I'm working. I don't got time for it. So I'm like, all right, dude, all right, I gotta go, bye. Somebody catches me outside while I'm on the way to my truck. They're like, Travis, do you know who you were just talking to? I'm like, no, who is it? What? I'm like, dude, that's lawmaker so-and-so. I'm like, what? Wow. But I didn't take much time. I just kept going toward the house, you know. But later that evening when I got to the house, I said to myself, man, dude, that's pretty interesting there. That guy's a senator, and he was in there elbow deep in drywall. The folks, they said he was in charge, but he was the one dirty. It really struck me pretty hard. I even talked to my wife about it, like, man, that is kind of shocking for me, you know? You know, when we see these shows of humility, these times when we're like kind of taken aback by somebody's actions, that they're acting lower than they actually are, we're taken aback because we're not used to that in life. You know, in life, we're used to being asked to serve, not asked if we want to be served. Well, Travis, prove it. There's usually about two ways that people ask us to serve. The first way is more of a transactional business way. You know, you go to work and they pay you for it, but you're really serving that company, you know? You're not gonna make more than the boss is making. You know, you go to a restaurant and sure, your waitress, waiter, they're serving you, but they're gonna bring you that check. But then we take this transactional relationship and then we apply it to relationships in our lives. Look at pornography, billion-dollar industry based on a transactional relationship. I'll pay you if you give me. Serve me. And we take this even in marriages sometimes. You do this, I'll do this. I'm not gonna give you, serve me. We'll trade, I'll sell you. And then the second way people will often ask of you is they'll take from you. And while this probably makes you think about criminal activity, it doesn't always work out as stealing or robbery. Sometimes it works out as rape. Sometimes it works out as molestation. We don't often see people actually serve. So when I saw this lawmaker, it kind of blew me away the rest of the evening. I was kind of blown away that this guy's a lawmaker, you know? You always think of these lawmakers as the folks who sit up high on the hill. This guy's down here in my neighborhood, elbow deep in drywall, because he looked at that neighborhood and said, those are my people. I gotta help. Took me aback, but I couldn't help but think about Jesus, you know? Disciples asked Jesus, who's the greatest among us? Who's gonna be the one that sits at your right hand? Who's gonna be your right hand man, your power player? And Jesus is like, what are you talking about, man? I didn't even come here for that. I didn't even come here for that. He's like, I came to serve. Why don't you have that mindset? In so doing, ends up washing their feet, man. Can you imagine? Like president walks up to you and wants to wash your feet. How often do you actually see that? But here you have Jesus. He saw a problem and said, I want to serve. I want to give of myself. But he didn't see a problem in which we need a new house or need a new car, need new shoes, or, you know, I need this and need that. I want a raise. I want a bomb salary. I want to be rich. He saw a God-sized problem. Most of those problems, just a good amount of money, you can fix those problems. Instead, he saw a God-sized problem. He says, I created these people to do life with me, but they've chosen to do life with other things, with alcohol, with gambling, with drugs. They've chosen to do life with the spirit of lying. They've chosen to do life however they've desired to do life. And he said, there's nothing they can do about that problem. They can't buy that problem away. They can't buy unholiness away. They can't trade something for it. There's no way to get rid of that problem for them. He says, but for me, I can take care of that problem. He says, because sin can't defeat me. I wasn't created, so therefore I cannot die. Therefore, if I go to earth and then I give myself as a sacrifice, death won't actually defeat me because I'm God. He says, I can go down there and serve them. He says, I'm not going to serve the way they serve, transactional relationship, or I'm not going to serve the way they serve, where I'm going to go down and take something from them. I'm not going to sell this redemption, this salvation. It's not going to be like that. He says, I just want to give. I've got a gift. I've got something to offer. Jesus says, I just want to give you something. I have a way I can serve you. Somebody might be saying, well, I do good things. I give food to the homeless. I give money to charity and things of that nature. Yeah, but it's kind of like my co-driver said. I got this co-driver I work with, man, and he'll often say, people can only give that which they've received. People can only pour out that which has been poured into them. Well, it's the same thing to do with serving. You can't serve like Christ unless you've been served by Christ. Christ doesn't ask you to change your life and become perfect first. He says, listen, have faith in me first. Have faith in me first. You look at the Israelites in the Old Testament, they were saved from Egypt. Then Moses gets the 10 Commandments, and the first line, I think it's Exodus 20, maybe the first line, it says, I'm the Lord your God who saved you out of Egypt. Therefore, the word therefore ain't there, but it's I'm the Lord your God who saved you out of Egypt. Therefore, have no other God before me. Don't lie, don't steal, don't murder. He says, I've served you. Now respond to that. He says, I've already served you. While you were a sinner, Christ died already to serve you today. I know it's like this time warp for folks who live in 2020, but he's saying, I've already served you. Now respond to that service. Respond to that service. He says that some guys walk up to Jesus and say, what's the most important thing you can do with our lives? And Jesus says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. Well, the same thing my co-driver Doug, same thing he says, you can't love unless you've been loved already. And you can't be loved unless you recognize I'm a sinner. Because Jesus didn't come to just be a cool looking guy to you. He didn't just come to grant you all of your fancy life wishes. He says the only reason I came is to redeem you. So unless you've been redeemed, there's really no way to serve God or serve your neighbor like Jesus served the church. He says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength. After you have been loved, respond by serving back. It's looking at God and saying, God, I acknowledge that you served me in a manner in which no one else could serve me. And now I want to serve you. I acknowledge that you laid your life down for a reason that no one else could lay their life down for me. And for that reason, I desire to lay mine down for you. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. It's acknowledging, God, I acknowledge that you saw me as a neighbor in my plight while I was a sinner, and you laid your life down for me, so I desire to love my neighbor as I have been loved by you. Paul says, husbands, love your wives like Christ loved the church. It is saying, hey, God, I acknowledge that I'm the bride of Christ, that you loved me so much so that you would lay your life down for me and provide and protect and sacrifice for me, that now that I am married, I desire to do the same for my bride. Not in a noble way in which some self-help book out of freaking Barnes and Nobles is going to tell you to do it. I desire to do it like you did it, because that is what saves my soul. That's serving like Jesus asks you to serve. Not like a book will teach you to serve, but like Jesus asks you to serve. That's serving. So you got like a couple questions. The first question is, hey, look, have you been served by Christ? And if you have not been served by Christ, Jesus says, hey, all ye who are heavy laden, I will give you rest. Just call upon my name and I will give you rest. I will serve you. I will take that burden from you. He says, you can be served. You can sit at the table. It's literally as simple as confessing with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believing that he is the Son of God, and you can be served. Man, I'm glad it don't take much more than that. Second question is, have I served back? Like, maybe I've been served, but am I serving now? Am I responding to the fact that I've been served? And if you're not responding, then your prayer should be, hey, God, please give me a way that I can respond to your grace. Show me how to respond to your grace. Whether that is just praying daily, whether that is, hey, look, I'm going to pour more scripture into my life. I want to respond to your grace and mercy and your love. It's saying, I want to serve back now. You laid your life down. Show me how I can lay my life down now. Or maybe you know somebody in your life that you're like, man, I have not been serving them like I've been served by Christ. And that is just the slam truth. And your prayer needs to be, hey, God, show me how I can love this person like you. How do you love this person? How do you see this person? Let me see this person like you. Because that's serving. It's not about everybody trying to serve us in life. It's about how can we lay our lives down like Christ did? How can we come up off our high horse? Humble ourselves like Christ did, like that lawmaker did. Tell you the truth, I love that lawmaker so much, man. We've done life together. We spent a little bit of time together since that happened. And this guy don't always vote the way I want him to vote. I love you, even if you're watching this and you know I'm talking about you. You don't always vote the way I want you to vote, but you know what? I'd vote you in the doggone White House in a heartbeat. Why? Because of your character, because of that humility, because you're there for your people. That is so much more important to me than policy. Because that looks like Christ. Truth be told, I don't always agree with the way Christ votes either, because that's the Travis in me. But it's humbling myself and saying I still vote for Christ, because he's right. And I'm wrong. Even if I don't like the vote, I'm wrong. It's service. Will you be served? Will you serve? Travis Kinley, Waco, Iowa. I got to get back to work. I-80. Love y'all. See you soon.